ladies and gents, girls and boys, and today I'm going to do a little lesson on a little riff idea using chromatics that I like to employ in solos. Now this is based on a pentatonic scale, and we're going to do it in a key that you probably don't practice enough. Let's do it in E flat. Okay, so first of all I want you to get your bearings and get yourself in this position for the E flat pentatonic scale, minor pentatonic scale. So we're going to start with actually we're going to start on the 7th, go up to the root, play the minor third, so G flat there, A flat, B flat, and then your D flat and E flat. That's the box we're going to be working in. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to do some chromatics. We'll do them in two different patterns, so it'll sound like this. Right, that's what we're gonna learn today as an exercise. Now all I'm doing is I'm taking the chromatic notes between each of the notes in the pentatonic scale and I'm just adding them in there. So the first exercise is going like this. It's going from the I'll just turn off the click. It's going from the root down to the 7th with the D flat the D natural chromatic in there. So E flat, D natural, D flat. That's the first movement. And then the second movement is the same but a string up, so on the D string. So that's going to give you A flat, G natural, G flat. And then we're going to move up to the next part. So we're going to go from the 5th of the pentatonic scale, the 5th of E flat minor, and we're going to go from B flat, A natural, down to A flat. So far we got, and then we're going to repeat that a string up. So that's E flat, D natural, D flat again. And then the second pattern is to reverse that, well, not reverse it, but to do ascending chromatics instead. So we're going to go from 7th, go from the 7th up to the root, from the minor third up to the 4th, from the 4th up to the 5th, and from the 7th up to the root. So I'm going to show you in a minute why this is so useful. Just a second, I'll put down. Let's put on a beat. Real simple. Might want to do it an octave up as well. It's worth experimenting, it's worth transposing everything an octave up, just so you know how to play it an octave up. And you can also play it from the D string, which would be like this. So that's basically going to help you to know where those notes are again, those little boxes that you can play in. So I really like playing when I play pentatonic. I like adding the chromatics. It gives you that funky sound, and yeah, some of these are real sweet notes. Now, what I would like you to also understand is that chromatics and the pentatonic scale, even if it's a minor pentatonic, doesn't necessarily mean it doesn't work over a dominant 7. Have a listen to this. I'm just going to play a loop. I'm just going to play chords on top. That's going from minor 7 to dominant 7. It's beautiful, right? So, there you go. You can hear how it fits over both, and just to demonstrate, I'll just solo in the same area. See how the pentatonic scale can work. You know, with those chromatics in there. And just as a last point, just to show you why does that work? Why doesn't it sound strange when we play some of these chromatic notes? The reason is because of if you analyze the first part with the passing D natural chromatic, that just takes our ear to the root, so it sounds comfortable. And if you study tritone substitutions, I'm doing a course basically on. I have a little course that I do with some of my online students, which is all about dominant 7 theory, because in jazz that is like a huge reason why so many of these so-called outside notes work. But basically, the basic thing is that it is, because it's leading into the root, it sounds fine. Our ear naturally expects it to go to the root. Now, if we hung on to that note, if we hung on to the D over the top of this riff, that sounds odd, right? But when you put it into context, you know, it sounds good. Right, now let's look at the next pattern of notes, which is the G flat up to the A, going chromatically. G flat, G natural, and sorry, A flat. Yeah, that's it. Now, why does that work? Well, this goes into dominant 7 theory here, and also using 7 flat 9 approaches and altered scales and stuff like that, which you can get into if you have private lessons with me. I do a course in altered theory, and I will give you materials that will help you to understand why those things work, and why some of Charlie Parker's music, his solos and melody lines work, because he uses a lot of altered and diminished theory. But anyway, this one basically works because you've got a minor third and then you've got a major third over the root of E flat. So it's an interesting one. This is, if you listen to a G natural over that's the outside note over the top. Here we go. It comes from that lovely kind of bluesy kind of feel, which uses the minor third going up to the major third over a dominant 7 or a 7 flat 9 chord. So I mean, it's very commonly done, that is, and this it gives you kind of these kinds of patterns. Can come into it. You can start to mix different scales together. Again, that's stuff you can get into with some of my online courses if you want to get into that stuff. All right, so that's that, and then the next one that we haven't done yet is why does this flat 5 work? Okay, let's have a listen to that. So that's an A natural. Now that, this is commonly used in tritone substitutions. In jazz, there's a lot of flat 5 chord substitution. For example, when we go from, like, if we do a 2-5-1 in G major, for example, the flat 5 substitution would be over the G. So we take the flat 5 of G and make it into a dominant 7 chord. A flat 5 of D, sorry, and make it a dominant 7 chord. That would be A flat. And it gives you a chromatic descent. So it's very commonly used, and also in blues, in this case, like, I mean, you've heard that sound so many times, right? You've heard that sound so many times. So the flat 5 is commonly used because, again, it's similar to the root note, to the raised 7, because it resolves onto the natural 5th, which naturally sounds good. And it is commonly used, as I said, in chord substitutions, especially in jazz. And it's a very, very useful thing to know about. Anyway, today the main thing is to learn that riff. I was playing backwards to what I did before. But it's an easy riff to learn, and it's a lot of fun. You can sneak that into your bass lines. You know, if you're playing if you're playing over a minor chord, you can use any of those concepts to make your bass line a bit more sexy. You know, like if you're playing something in E minor. You know, I'm using the same concept as well. Many bass lines do. You can listen to a whole load of stuff like, you know, if you look at 90s bands like Rage Against the Machine, the bass player from Rage Against the Machine, and the guitarist, they wrote these riffs which were very strong riffs. They used a lot of the pentatonic chromaticism as well as using using the kind of minor third to major third concept that I was talking about earlier. That kind of thing, you know. You know, that's kind of like a nice heavy riff, but it's got a lot of it's got a lot of chromaticism going on it. So those are some examples anyway of how this can work. You could get the tablature for this riff, and you can also get the little backing track that I've made here, this one, which you can download at my website in this member area.